Hey folks, welcome to patch 9.2, and definitely excited to see where Windwalker is headed with this latest patch. We're going to jump right away into a talent breakdown, and then we'll speak about what kind of legendaries you want to get to, um, different covenants, etc. But right off the hop, you're seeing our recommended talent build here for Mythic Plus, going into 9.2. Tier 1 Chi Burst is the hands down go to. They're all viable, to be fair, but the recommendation from us, jump with T-Burst. Tier 2, go with Tiger's Lust. Tier 3, you get a bit of a choice. You get to go with Fist of the White Tiger, which is better for more of a single target or a tyrannical week. Alternatively, most of the time in Mythic Plus, you can go with Ascension, and having that increase in Chi and energy definitely helps support us. Ring of Peace is absolutely the go-to in Mythic Plus. Tier 5, you've got a little bit more of a choice, whether it's Diffuse Magic or Dampen Harm. Most of the time, actually being able to defer like a massive amount of magic damage and actually be able to reflect it back comes in super handy. And any of you who play Warrior and the benefit of Spell Reflect will also be familiar with that. Alternatively, Dampen Harm's there as well, and it's decent as far as just having an additional damage reduction. Tier 6, Dance of Chi-Ji is the way to go, and Tier 7, Whirling Dragon Punch is hard to beat. Now, if you're interested in more of a raid style build, you're going to go again. Each of these three options is totally viable. For me, I really like Eye of the Tiger, but Chi Wave can work as well. So, alternatively, you can stick with Chi Burst if you're someone who plays a lot of single target and Mythic Plus. Tier 2, you're going to stick with Tiger's Lust, no change there. Just basically having the ability to buff your friend makes a major difference. Tier 3, again, it comes down to your choice, Ascension or Fist of the White Tiger. I usually like Ascension because it's just easy to swap between that on Mythic Plus. Depending on what the composition of the raid is looking like, and if it's a multi-target activity or not, Ring of Peace may lose all value. If it does, go with Good Karma. So alternatively, those are your two choices for Tier 4. Tier 5, kind of consistent with what we discussed in Mythic Plus. Diffuse Magic or Dampen Harm are both viable options. Now, you don't want to go with Dance of Chi-Ji because that won't be a major part of your rotation. So if you're going to go with more of a single target build, go over to hit combo, basically being able, like, there's no time that you won't be attacking as Windwalker, let's be honest about it. So just makes a solid little incremental difference once you're able to get your damage buffed by about 6%. And then finally Tier 7, Whirling Dragon Punch, no change there whatsoever. So for the most part, we're in a pretty darn good spot as far as talents go. No major changes there. But what we will start to see as we start to discuss covenants is that there's kind of two major go-to covenants with where we're sitting currently. And in 9.1, 9.15, Kyrian was pretty darn attractive. What we're really seeing is that Necrolord is probably going to be tops for driving up your DPS as both raiding, which is pretty exciting, but the reason behind that is because Bone Dust no longer crits. So Necrolord did drop off a little bit, but overall Necrolord and Kyrian are both really close as far as single target damage goes. But if you're looking to completely min-max rating, we're going to jump over to Necrolord. However, if you're going to do Mythic Plus, Necrolord is the recommended go-to as well. So there's definitely a little bit of overall benefit here to jump in bed with Necrolord. One of the major changes that's coming with 9.2 is the ability again to use double legendaries, which is really exciting. In raids, you're going to go with Invoker's Delight if you are the Necrolord spec. Alternatively, if you're sticking with Kyrian, that's going to be where you're going to go as well, Invoker's Delight. Alternatively, after that, this is where you get to have a little bit of fun. If you're sticking with Kyrian, Called Arms is a solid way to go, or Bountiful Brew. So your legendaries for raiding, just to recap: Invoker's Delight, pair it up with Called Arms, or Bountiful Brew. Now for Mythic Plus, you're going to go with Invoker's Delight again, and then Bountiful Brew because you're rocking the Necrolord. So overall, tons of fun. Bountiful Brew, if you're not familiar with it, actually does extend the duration of Bone Dust Brew if it procs and it's already on the target. So ton of fun to be had there. Overall, like you will see with tier sets returning in 9.2, you may have to reforge your legendary. Unfortunately, Invoker's Delight is probably going to be BIS for Helms now, just the way that our legendaries rolled out. That's if you're looking to maximize your tier set. And why you'd want to do that, your 2-piece set, as far as the tier goes, gives you a 40% increase to Fists of Fury, which is great in both single target and cleave situations, so really rewarding players to get back into raiding. Ultimately though, it does have a little bit more of a limited benefit if you're going to incorporate it into Hierarchy Mythic Plus, because we just don't use Fists of Fury as much. Spinning Crane Kick is absolutely the go-to in that situation. Now as far as the 4 set goes, this is where it gets pretty beneficial, but you don't have to change a whole lot of your overall rotation. With the 4 set, the strength, it really starts to jump out because there's a limited nature of extra damage associated with this. Ultimately, you don't need to sprint to load up on this. If you get the 4 set, it gives you primordial potential, and that's after 10 offensive abilities. Your next 3 offensive abilities deal an additional 22% damage. So probably won't be looking to completely min-max this as part of a component of our design. Most players will not be managing their attacks that way and playing like a Paladin's Wings type approach. But overall, it will really help us out from a passive benefit perspective. We end up requiring to wear this tier set on our gloves, shoulders, chest, and legs. So that's ultimately what ends up causing Invoker's Delight to be recrafted up on the helm. So a little bit of a bummer there. Overall, folks, not a whole lot of change. The biggest adjustment for Windwalker in 9.2 was the slight nerf to Bone Dust Brew, but Windwalker's overall AoE damage will continue to be absolutely exceptional, and I think it's just going to be a bunch of fun. Like that's the honest truth of where Windwalker's been the last little bit. So just a great melee class, produces a bunch of damage. It's a little bit silly actually what we start to see here over time, but load up on it, have a little bit of fun, and enjoy 9.2. That's kind of the biggest thing, right? Alright folks, drop it in the comments. Let me know what I missed, what I could have done differently, things you'd like to hear more about, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Enjoy the patch. Later.